You have a new book out called The Longevity Diet.
Yeah, the longevity diet, and it's divided into two sections. The first half is all about everyday diet, and in this everyday diet, I talk about 5 pillars of longevity. I basically say, let's base the decision on diet, on epidemiological studies, centenarian studies, basic research focus on longevity, clinical studies, and studies of complex systems. And complex system being cars and planes. And I always thought that it's a very good way to remove, together with the other 4 pillars, to remove all the uncertainties and say, well, how do systems that we build age? To just get a fundamental understanding of how the environment and how the environment affects the complex systems. And so the first half is that, and the centenarian groups, the ones that have record longevity from around the world, were really important. For example, I always say to people, the ketogenic diet. Well, let's look at groups that have record longevity. They use the ketogenic diet. None of them, right? So that's very important to say for the safety component. Once you make a decision about what the science tells you, it's always good to look around the world and say, how commonly used is this diet? And if the answer is it's not used at all, you're really taking a chance on this diet. And the other half of the book is about the fasting-mimicking diet and on normal people, some of the things we discussed, and then a chapter on diabetes, type 1 and type 2. There is a chapter on autoimmunities. There is a chapter on Alzheimer's and neurodegeneration, and a chapter on cancer. So it goes through all the major, and a chapter on cardiovascular disease, all the major diseases, and tries to, mostly based on data out there, and combine it with what we learn to try to provide people with complementary intervention. So, for example, if you look at diabetes, it basically says, well, here's what you could do every day, but then you can introduce the periodic fasting-mimicking diet. Of course, you're going to need your endocrinologist to make the decision whether this is clinical trial type of intervention or they can actually do it. Diabetes is very tricky. So it probably be best to keep it within a clinical trial, but some endocrinologists may be experienced enough to follow their own patients and allow them to do it.